Hello, my name is Dave. I recently won the lottery and I'm planning to travel the world and invest my money. However, I've heard about accounting scandals and earnings management at firms, which can influence my investment decision. When managers manipulate earnings to conceal actual firm performance, I cannot make a proper investment decision. My question is, are there countries with perhaps more or less investor protection?
Well, Dave, I would like to suggest to look at the paper of Luce et al. 2003. They examined systematic difference in earnings management across 31 countries. In their research, the relation between investor protection and earnings management is tested.
Oh, what did the paper tell you?
Well, at first it is needed to state that the different countries have in common that all companies encounter agency conflicts. This means that managers can conceal or misrepresent information that causes financial statements to give a false representation of the firm's actual state. Luce et al. 2003 expect that this earnings management is more pervasive for countries with weak legal enforcement and more investor rights.
Okay, seems logic to me. Which countries are included in their research?
To test the systematic differences between countries in earnings management, a sample is used containing just over 70,000 firm-year observations of 8,600 non-financial firms across 31 countries for the years 1990 to 1999, ranging from Australia to the United States.
That are a lot of countries where I could invest my money. How did they measure earnings management and what are their findings?
To measure for earnings management, Luce et al. Determined four different proxies. The first proxy divides the standard deviation of operating earnings with the standard deviation of cash flows from operations. This is to measure the degree in which insiders use accruals to reduce the variability of reported earnings. The second proxy measures accounting discretion used by firms to conceal economic shocks in the firm's operating cash flow. That is, the firm recognizes less earnings in prosperous times and more earnings in less prosperous times. The third measurement uses the magnitude of accruals as a proxy to determine to which extent insiders use discretionary accruals to manipulate earnings. The fourth proxy measures accounting discretions that are used to avoid reporting small losses. This proxy measures the ratio of small reported profits to small reported losses in each country to reflect the use of earnings management. And finally, to mitigate potential measurement error, an aggregated score is constructed of earnings management. A high score indicates a higher level of earnings management. Table 2 represents earnings management across countries sorted in descending, where similar patterns in terms of their relative magnitude exist for different proxies. It seems that the aggregated earnings management score is high for countries such as Austria, Italy, and South Korea, where low rankings are for countries such as Australia, the UK, and the US.
These are useful findings. Do these type of countries have similar characteristics?
To find systematic differences in earnings management, the countries are clustered on the basis of institutional characteristics. Large stock markets, low ownership concentration, extensive outsider rights, high disclosure and strong legal enforcement characterize the first cluster, or the outsider economies. The second cluster, or insider economies, show smaller stock markets, higher ownership concentration, weaker investor protection, lower disclosure levels and weaker enforcement. The third cluster is the same as the second, only these insider economies are characterized with a weaker legal enforcement. Based on the mean scores, it seems that Cluster 1 has the lowest average earnings management score, followed by Cluster 2 and as last Cluster 3.
Okay, but which institutional factors are primary determinants of earnings management and which are correlated outcomes?
The multiple regression of Luce et al. Shows that outsider rights and legal enforcement both exhibit a significant negative association with earnings management. Also, the degree of investor protection is negatively related to the earnings management. At last, results indicate that there is a significant positive relation between earnings management and private control benefits. In summary, the regression results are consistent with the hypothesis that weak outsider protection and private control benefits create incentives to manage earnings.
So, the conclusion is that outside investor rights, legal enforcement, and private control benefits are significantly related to earnings management?
Yes, and on the basis of this paper, my advice to you is to invest your money in firms from Cluster 1, since earnings management seems to be the lowest in countries with large stock markets, low ownership concentration, extensive outsider rights, high disclosure and strong legal enforcement.
created using Powtoon.